this story broke last night, and I'm like, I think there's more to this. Like, the truth is something different than what we're seeing. I don't think that it's as simple as somebody just, screwing up. I really don't. Lou, thank you for your generosity as well. And Mr. Know-It-All, thank you. I appreciate all you guys being here. This is a big story. So we're getting the truth right now. I want to talk about the truth, find the truth as it pertains to this quote unquote Signal leak. So Signal is an app, by the way. I've used it before. It's considered very secure, clearly not that secure, but it's considered pretty darn secure, about as secure as you're going to get for online communication. I mean, your cell phone, forget about it. Like, anybody can infiltrate that. And, Telegram, there's like 50 of me on Telegram. Be very careful on that platform. Yeah, the one and only right here. But, there's different communication apps out there, and this is considered one of the best. And so apparently Pete Hegseth and the new head of the CIA, they're all conversing. Possibly Tulsi was there. She has not admitted that, but there was someone with the initials TG. She's not saying anything. And somehow this guy from The Atlantic is on there. Now you go figure. This is Jeffrey Goldberg. And Jeffrey is a reporter that has worked at The Atlantic like forever, and he's very, very, very left, okay? So it's kind of weird. He came out with a piece last night, again, like on the eve of this big intel hearing that they've got with Mike and Tulsi, and he publishes this article, "The Trump administration accidentally texted me its war plans." Okay, what? So this is, per him, U.S. national security leaders included me in a group chat about upcoming military strikes in Yemen. I didn't think it could be real. And then the bombs started falling. So he's saying he's getting messages about when they're going to fall, this, that, and the other. I'll let him explain it. He went on to CNN last night, quite happily. He's on MSNBC too, all over the airwaves, bragging about this story. But I don't think it's as simple as either Jeffrey or the Democrats want to make this. Here we go.
You were kind of walking through when this began. You weren't even sure if it was real yourself. You thought maybe I'm being spun or conned or something's happening here.
Until the day that I received the attack plan from Pete Hegseth at 11:44 a.m. that Saturday, March 15th, and then saw the attack plan said that 1:45 p.m. Eastern time, that the first bombs would be dropping in Yemen. Until that moment, until that period elapsed, the 2-hour period between that text and the first bombs being dropped, I thought it was a hoax. I thought somebody was trying to entrap me. Again, could it have been a foreign intelligence service? Could it have been a gadfly organization that tries to entrap journalists, which we know happens? I didn't know what it was or who it was, but what I did know was that the obvious answer was that this is a real conversation of the national security leadership of the United States. Seemed improbable to me, because why would they do it on Signal? Why would they do this on a messaging app? And why would they invite the editor-in-chief of The Atlantic to watch? I say this only half jokingly. I mean, I'm sitting in a Safeway parking lot watching my phone and realizing, oh my God, this might be real. I think Pete Hegseth just sent this group actual targeting information, actual sequencing of an attack, and I'm holding on to the phone. I don't want anybody to, and then I thought to myself, well, I mean, I guess they're lucky they didn't send this to a Houthi by mistake, or to a foreign diplomat, or to somebody who would plausibly be in one of their phones. I guess that counts as a kind of luck.
So, what do you think? You think like Pete Hegseth and Mike Waltz just decided to include Jeffrey Goldberg on here? Typically, I'll give you my Telegram experience. You have to accept that you're going into a group chat. It's been a while since I've used Signal, but I find this all very, very, very peculiar. And adding to all of this, so my suspicion level was up here to begin with, right? I'm okay, is this just, they screwed up? I mean, they had Jeffrey Goldberg in in their phones somehow and they added him on? Or could there be something more to it? And then Mike Waltz said this in the hearings today. I want you to hear, and we're going to unpack it because this blew me away and this got me thinking even more. Okay, like, is it an inside job? I'll just say it. I'm giving away the lead here, but here we go. Here's Mike.
So that we're clear, one of the first things that happened when I was confirmed as CIA director was signal was loaded onto my computer at the CIA, as it is for most CIA officers. One of the things that I was briefed on very early, Senator, was by the CIA records management folks about the use of signal as a permissible work use. It is. That is a practice that preceded the current administration to the Biden administration.
Okay, so that's weird. He said that the CIA put it on his computer. And this is something that predated him, that this is like the Biden CIA people saying, here you go, here's your computer, and we've preloaded it with signal. Does anybody else find that troubling? Because I worry, I'm going to put it all out there, okay? So this is my opinion. This is my opinion only. I have nothing to base this on other than conjecture. And, well, I've been right on everything, like literally everything, okay? So I tend to try and see through these things when they try and spin me, like they're trying to spin America. And I just got to say, they're the ones that put it on his computer and said, this is the pre-approved thing. This is what you can use. So they had access to it. Well, no sooner did I say this, and I shared this with one of my team members, than Mike Waltz said exactly the same thing in a cabinet meeting just moments ago with Donald Trump. Listen to what he's asking here.
Yes, Mr. President, you asked about lessons. I think there's a lot of journalists in this city who have made big names for themselves, making up lies about this president, whether it's the Russia hoax or making up lies about Gold Star families. And this one in particular, I've never met, don't know, never communicated with, and we are looking into and reviewing how the heck he got into this room. But I'll tell you what, the world owes President Trump a favor. Under Biden, global shipping was shut down. Pinprick attacks, months between them, our destroyers being fired upon dozens of times. President Trump took decisive action with his national security team, took out the head missileer, knocked out missiles, knocked out headquarters, knocked out communication sites. And for once, as we hear, as you all hear from every one of our allies, thank God for American leadership again. Thank God for American strength. You're welcome. We had a national security team that was coordinating these efforts. As Director Ratcliffe testified today, his first day on the job, he was introduced to this app on his government systems at the CIA and at the State Department and otherwise. So, look, this journalist, Mr. President, wants the world talking about more hoaxes and this kind of nonsense rather than the freedom that you're enabling. And a key part of our sovereignty is open sea lanes and knocking the crap out of terrorists, which is exactly what your team and Pete Hegseth, a good friend and fellow veteran, is leading the charge on. And it's an honor to be part of it.
So if you read in between the lines there, he's kind of saying, like, we don't know what we don't know, right? We don't know how this happened. And we have reasons to believe that there are people that didn't want this to happen. Like they don't want the Trump administration to succeed in any way, shape, or form. So this is partly what was discussed with Tulsi Gabbard today, which was an amazing, amazing hearing. I mean, she was just phenomenal on some of the energy stuff. And then this came up. Senator Warner was really pushing her about, like, you know, how is it that we had classified information? She's like, there's no classified information on there. By the way, that's something the White House was very clear about as well. No classified information. In fact, they published a tweet This is from the White House. Caroline Leavitt saying Jeffrey Goldberg, the reporter at The Atlantic, is well known for his sensationalist spin. Here are the facts. 1, no war plans were discussed. 2, no classified material was sent to the thread. And 3, the White House counsel's office has provided guidance on a number of different platforms for President Trump's top officials to communicate as safely and efficiently as possible. As the National Security Council stated, the White House is looking into how Goldberg's number was inadvertently added to the thread. I mean, maybe she's being generous, saying inadvertently. I don't know. But I find this all incredibly peculiar, and the reality is it needs to be investigated. We need more information. We need more information on Russia, right? And that hoax, we need more information on this as well. Tulsi Gabbard being pushed on this. She did an outstanding job. This is a woman who just doesn't break. Watch.
Did you participate in the group chat with Secretary of Defense and other Trump senior officials discussing the Yemen war plans?
Senator, I don't want to get into the specifics.
Ma'am, were you on? You're not going to be willing to address. So you're not. Are you denying? Ma'am, will you answer my question, ma'am? You were not TG on this group chat.
I'm not going to get into the specifics.
So you refuse to acknowledge whether you were on this group chat.
Senator, I'm not going to get into the specifics.
Why are you going to get into the specifics? Is it because it's all classified?
Because this is currently under review by the National Security Council.
Because it's all classified? If it's not classified, share the text now.
As the White House previously
stated, is it classified or non-classified information on this text?
I can confirm.
Director Radcliffe, were you on the group chat?
Senator, I was on a signal messaging group.
So you were the John Ratcliffe on that chat?
I was.
Thank you. Thank you.
Can I provide some context, Senator, to that?
Yes, but I've got a series of questions.
Well, but I think it's important because at the outset you made a couple of comments about signal messaging using encrypted apps. So that we're clear, one of the first things that happened when I was confirmed as CIA director was signal was loaded onto my computer at the CIA, as it is for most CIA officers. One of the things that I was briefed on very early, Senator, was by the CIA records management folks about the use of signal as a permissible work use. It is. That is a practice that preceded the current administration to the Biden administration.
Director Ratcliffe, I've got a series of questions. If you're making the statement that signal is a secure channel.
No, can I answer that? It is.
I've got a series of
decryption. So
it is. I understand encryption.
It is permissible to use to communicate and coordinate for work purposes, provided, Senator, that any decisions that are made are also recorded through formal channels. Right. So those were procedures that were implemented. My staff implemented those processes, followed those processes